your name at these style of racetracks. I know things didn't end the way you wanted them to at Daytona, but how are you feeling about your chances today?
Yeah, definitely. I think we had a pretty strong run at Daytona, led some laps, and really the biggest thing is just getting back in the groove of things, getting guys respect again, and there's the best of the best starting right up front here. So really happy with the speed of our Georgia Peanuts Ford Dark Horse Mustang, and the Ford's been really strong all year already. So yeah, like I said, got my teammate up here. We got a good plan.
Talk about memories here, guys. This doesn't get old. The Georgia guy, most popular driver, and part of Hendrick Motorsports that is Napa today for weather. The sun is shining. Stay with us.
Busher, and I'm wondering, would you go in a submarine? Yeah, I would do that. I'm afraid of flying, but I'll get in a submarine. You'd go down. I heard you went to Jackson, Wyoming. Are you a skier as well? I'm a faller. Yeah, I try and ski and then I fall, but we were a little smart. It was a little too close to season.
Up and their mindset, sitting in the meetings, like really helped me out as a young driver. So those two guys taught me a ton, and I've been able to kind of leech off of them a little bit of their knowledge and apply it. And hopefully we can apply it today and have a good run.
Go get them, champ. Oh, sorry, I bumped into a cat. Here's Kyle Larson with his family. I tell you a little quick factoid. Kyle Larson races every weekend. Is that
your hats as the Dawson County High School Junior ROTC Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Here to offer today's invocation, please welcome from Restoration Church in Bethlehem, Georgia, Pastor Ben Warwick.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you first and foremost for the sacrifice of your Son, Jesus. Lord, we thank you for your goodness and grace. Let it be a competitive race today, a safe race. Cover every driver, every fan, and every crew member. And Lord, be with the officials and let them know it ain't rubbing, it's just racing. And last but not least, Lord, I pray you'd bless every first responder. God bless our troops. God bless NASCAR. And God bless the United States of America. And go Dogs.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome two-time Georgia Country Female Artist of the Year, Mary Kate Farmer.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Clint Kevin standing by with Mike Joy to take you 400 miles. Good crowd, good weather, good race, good day.
To the next. Because the only thing better than seeing a race is sharing it with someone.
Second fastest this week after being on pole in Daytona. Ryan Blaney, series champ. They're all ready to tackle Atlanta in the Ambetter Health 400. We are a world away from Daytona.
And now, here to say the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome 35-year lead anchor for the Performance Racing Network, entering his final season behind the mic, Doug Rice.
Oh, wait, is that the in my radio?
To all the race fans who have ever listened to NASCAR on the radio, thank you
Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is final season on the radio.
Drivers, start your engines!
What else is your engine for me? Maybe. Yeah, it's bushy. It's Christian Busher. Yes.
Doug Rice brings the heat. We've been kidding him all weekend that The Rock would be a tough act to follow, and he nailed it.
Yeah, the law gets man to the 500 on Monday.
Now lock it down.
Yeah, boy.
On your tight 2 inside.
Things get heated here in Atlanta.
Who's going to make the move?
Been out smoke so long down.
Whoa!
Running out me and my money attached emotionally. I get clutching if you close to me. I'm at the top one posting.
Front row is Daytona, but a new pole sitter, Michael McDowell, gets his first career pole in start 467, while Joey Logano dominated last year, led 140 laps and won.
Let's dial Michael McDowell up. Hey, Michael McDowell, Kevin Harvick up in the Fox booth. Man, I know how much of a challenge this racetrack is.
So Larry's estimating Joey Logano, when he does his pass through, will go 1.5 to 1 3/4 laps down. The good thing for Logano is he'll be the only car laps down. Should there be an early caution, but he's not eligible for that free pass because green flag in Atlanta. Michael McDowell leads them to turn 1.
And then this might be a part 2 of the video when I saw it.
It's the Kyle and Kyle show on the inside.
Big run coming on the outside. Todd Gill and Bush McDowell already. Bush up for a block.
Michael McDowell swings to the bottom, but Kyle Busch moved up because he knows that middle lane is going to be the preferred lane. As these things get strung out, you're going to want to be in the middle lane, so you better get off the bottom as quick as you can.
Well, why is that? A little bit more banking. You get chopped on the bottom like you...
One car slides to the infield. Austin Dillon, and they pile up behind him.
That's 2 weeks in a row early out for Austin Dillon. I don't know how much damage he has, but there's a bunch of them, folks.
A lot of cars evolve. The big one happens. The big one happens
Gregson
too
in
early
this.
here to
Bell. There's a
Jones.
right rear. I think Austin may get away with just that tire damage.
Way too early. Stage 1.
Solid right front.
Seatbelt, evolve.
Yeah, and Clint, as we go back and look at this, you're going to see them all stack up really, really bad in the middle of the straightaway, but there is a ton of cars that have damage.
All the drivers that had trouble in qualifying are caught up in this.
Always the risk, right? You start at the back of these fields and you put yourself in harm's way, but man, that is not what a lot of these guys wanted to see early. This is a big wreck.
Austin Dillon has not left the scene down there in turn number 1. Alex Bowman with a lot of damage, and Harrison Burton appears to be involved again. Noah Gregson, I say again, he was taken out in, lap 6 of Monday night's race.
Yeah, and you talk about Austin Dillon. He scored 1 point last week.
Let's look what happened. It stacks up on its outside, folks. If you watch here, these cars right in through here all start stacking up as they catch them. Accordion effect. We saw it at Daytona time and time again. Look at the accordion back here.
What happened was Todd Gilliland trying to make a hole for Michael McDowell to get up in that preferred lane in the middle, stack that whole line up really hard.
Those guys had nowhere to go. Didn't see it. Landed right in their lap.
What a mess. Watch Todd Gilliland, the 38 car right here. He's going to check up to try to make a hole for Michael McDowell, and it checks up this whole line. And all of a sudden, that accordion just gets deep.
Denny Hamlin just missed the 3.
You see Harrison Burton around.
Look at that. A lot of cars involved.
We're under caution. Just 2 laps into the Ambetter Health 400 in Atlanta. It is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Bundle home and auto and save. And by Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories. Miller Lite. Tastes like Miller time.
Yes, it does.
Welcome back to the Ambetter Health 400. We are under caution for a crash on lap 2 as you have a look at our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Powering the race from green to checkered flag and every mile in between. Goodyear, more driven. 16 cars piled up in turn 1 after after Austin Dillon got accordion, turned, and ended up on the apron down in turn number 1. He has since driven away back to his pit, as many of these 16 cars are under repair.
For as big a wreck as that was, we don't have maybe one car out of the race, Bowman, from what I can tell.
Well, there is some significant damage on a few of these cars, Clint, and a lot of flat tires as we watch everybody come in. And some of these guys were way behind on points already, and I hate to be the person talking about points up here, but when you look at Austin Dillon and Harrison Burton and some of these guys that didn't have a good week last week, these guys all had a pretty solid week.
Fine.
Yeah, these guys are all good. These guys got points and wrecked and took care of themselves because they had a good week.
Now this one is the one you're talking about, and several of these guys were in that wreck again for the second week in a row, and that's where you're talking getting buried.
Yeah, and Tyler Reddick was the one that we noticed the most that's still sitting on pit lane and having trouble with his car from the damage from the wreck. So it just stacks up, and having two super speedway with a slow car, having a bad week at Daytona, and we haven't seen this before with two super speedways in a row. The magnitude of mess that you can be in after 2 races is going to haunt some of these guys.
It takes till late summer to get caught up in this, if you ever do.
16 cars involved in this pile-up. Turn 1, lap 2. On Fox is sponsored by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Credit One Bank. Now, Joey Logano on lap number 1 had to come down pit road after taking the green flag and do a run down pit road at pit road speed to finish serving his penalty from qualifying yesterday. He did so, and while that was happening, the field piled up in turn number 1. So old Joey comes out of this smelling like a rose. He is the 20th place car. Everybody behind him was involved in the crash.
It was him.
And he has served his penalty. Jamie.
And Chase Elliott planning on coming down pit road now for the 3rd time. Most damage for him was on the nose and the left front area of the splitter. You see it all taped up right there. They also worked on that hood area. Tough break for Chase Elliott. They got those fresh tires on. They're not giving up yet. They feel like they're going to be okay. They just got to get it right now as you see him wiping the left front side of that race car.
About a dozen cars pitting here. Now, Alex Bowman's car came in on the hook on the wrecker, and the wrecker stopped on pit road to not impede cars that were coming out from their pit stalls. Took a long time to get his car into the stall when they can work on it. I would imagine that NASCAR will adjust the damaged vehicle policy clock to account for the time that the wrecker was stationary, but we'll have to wait and see if they can get that car repaired.
Yeah, I see the hood flap in the crew member's hand right there. That'll be a big issue. You see Noah Gregson's car all tore up. The right front's tore off. The left side's got scrapes and battered up on the left rear there. So just a lot of hidden damage that we can't really pick out in the replay.
Right off the bat, Kevin, obviously stacking up, that seemed almost too easy. That line really stacked up fast and caused a lot of trouble. Very fast.
Well, we've got that quad oval here, so the cars are being turned a little bit down the straightaway, so they're already light on their feet right there. And as I talked in the beginning of the broadcast, this is the place where the cars are the lightest. You always feel like you're up on top of the racetrack, you're going over bumps, and everything just happens really, really fast here. So as a driver, you're not comfortable all day, and we see how easy it is to get those cars turned around.
Josh Williams has taken his car to the garage. Repairs complete on Chase Elliott and Noah Gregson. Only Alex Bowman still sits on pit road as a result of this.
We were just so excited to be on TV.
A lot of taunting going on in the grandstands up there.
I love it. What's racing without some trash talk?
That's right.
Well, folks, you just saw the biggest pileup in the history of Atlanta Motor Speedway. 16 cars involved. And it looks like all but Josh Williams
Holy cow!
are
That's a
able
lot
to
of
continue.
penalties!
And all those crash cars have to go to tail end of the longest
That's a lot
line.
of cars.
That's why it's a short line on the bottom. That's how few got to choose. We're back under green. Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson.
That's a lot of cars, though. Kyle, the Cowboy blocking watcher down there. Right there.
Well, Well, here we go again, Mike. We see him pushing already.
Right there in the top
Everybody
10.
wants to be in the middle groove unless you can get clear. If Kyle Larson can get clear of Kyle Busch, it's a good move. He's clear.
Kyle show.
I think you're going to see him move right back up into position on that outside.
Now, can we get through turn 1 at speed?
Kyle was very happy with his car. Talked to him last night. Said, I got a bad, fast hot rod. Got something for him today.
You heard his interview in pre-race. That's a new Kyle Busch. You know, winning is a pretty good tonic. He won the truck race yesterday.
Yep. And
Which Kyle you talking about? They're both fat. I tell you what, it was the same way in the pre-race in the 500. Both Kyles putting on a show so far, 2024.
Chris Buescher right with them.
Well, now you see things start to settle in with the cars getting closer together and more evenly gapped. And you saw Kyle Busch work both of those lanes and decided to get up to the middle lane and do the blocking, trying to work both lanes from bottom to top until he just couldn't hold the outside off anymore. But typically, as we go at Atlanta, that bottom lane will have less cars in it, and that middle lane will form with the momentum, and it'll just start to get harder and harder every lap to make those passes on the bottom when they get spread out.
Another pack. Oh, 3 wide into the corner.
3 wide here. Those are for the day. He's going to the garage.
Christopher Bell headed for the garage and out after damage from lap 2.
Big move on Briscoe, going 3 wide. Can he make it stiff? Going to need to get up soon. Here comes some help behind him and Buescher. I think the fight is on for this track position. You know, Kevin, I've heard all these drivers talk about speed versus handling, all that conversation. You know how they handle best? Out front.
And this is a short stage, Clinton, and we see 60 laps in the stage. We've already run 15 laps, and a lot of those under caution, and I think these guys are going to do everything that they can to work their way towards the front. They all filled up with fuel, not all of them, but a lot of them filled up with fuel, and you'll have that second half of the field with a little bit fuller tank, but at some point the handling is going to be more of an issue as we run, and as we see them 3 wide through the middle of 3 and 4.
Everybody trying to fly up through the field. 4-track position. Perhaps none more than Chase Elliott. He's already in front of all the other cars that were involved in that crash, and he was 3 wide at the back stretch making passes.
Well, we were a little bit worried about that car. The left front of Chase Elliott's splitter looked like it was a little bit low, but he seems to be making his way towards the front.
And that was according to plan, not obviously the crash, but the handling, having downforce in his car. I think you're right. We're already starting to see him spread out. As this track ages, it's getting slicker and slicker, and this handling is going to play a role.
I cannot stress enough how difficult these cars are to drive at this particular racetrack, as we see Kyle Busch shoot down to the bottom and clear Kyle Larson.
Easily clear.
Yes.
Wow, 3 wide again with Truex way up toward the wall. Footnote on Christopher Bell. They made repairs on pit road. He cleared the DVP clock. That is, he reached minimum speed on the racetrack. Now he can go to the garage, make mechanical repairs, and come back out. He's not necessarily out of the race.
Why did it look so easy? I'm talking about that pass for the lead. It's because you're already seeing cars lifting. He was able to hold it wide open down there. Kyle Busch was, and passed Larson with ease. You're already seeing back through the field, cars lifting big time, gaps getting. That opens up opportunities. If you have the downforce in your race car and you can hold the throttle wide open, you're going to head to the front.
And the other thing is the energy from this pack is going to be a little bit less because of the fact that the second half of that field is tore up and probably knocked some speed out of their cars, probably stopped dragging the racetrack, and that's going to change the complexion of this race because of the energy and not as many cars in the pack.
Looking back to race leader Kyle Busch, the Cheddar's on board cam, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, Michael McDowell, and Chase Briscoe's run up the inside. Now he's got Ryan Blaney in front of him, so Blaney looking for the front.
That's what we're going to see every year.
18 laps complete. Let's take a look at what's on the menu. Sponsored by Cracker Barrel.
Menu?
Yeah, Mike, I have 3 little elements here
here. Now, if the race stays green, run as far as you can on fuel. Do not short pit. Go as far as that tank of fuel will allow you. Now, if you've not run a lot of laps and the caution comes out for that track position, consider changing just 2 tires or doing fuel only. And look at flipping the stages. If the caution comes out near the end of stage 1 or stage 2 and you're not in a position to score stage points, pit and then stay out at the stage break and you get that track position, Mike.
Thanks, Larry. Kyle Busch has led all but 2 laps. Kyle Larson led those. Big crash at lap 2. Christopher Bell in the garage. Josh Williams out of the race. Larson to the front.
Onboard Monster Energy Ty Gibbs onboard camera right here, and you see him going through the quad oval here where those cars are light. You don't want to push like they did at the beginning of the race because the cars will spin out easy. You hear him lift off the gasket in the corner. A lot of times the front tires won't turn, so you got to lift before you actually get to the corner. And now you see him on the back bumper of Todd Gillen down the back straightaway. That little bump that Ty Gibbs gave Todd there makes a really big help. It's a really big help to be able to get yourself towards the car back in front of you.
That was a big lift on Gillen. He lifted big time, and that's why you saw him get to the bumper so easy. After the lift, front end took off.
Clean and green now after a lap 2 pileup, the biggest in Atlanta Motor Speedway recorded history. Health 400. Did I say clean and green? I spoke too soon. Lap 25, Chris Buescher, turn number 4.
Well, this is just a lack of grip, and when you look at everything that happens right here, there's nothing that happens. He just flat out loses it, and you'll have that right front fender offset to the car in front of him, and he's already loose, and this corner is notorious for just losing grip like that, and with that right front fender staggered from the car in front of him, it just stepped out on him.
What should I do? He wreck him or what?
Got lucky. Byron.
So did William Byron, yeah. And, hey, they're going to put 4 new Goodyears on that car right there and be just fine. It's probably an adjustment. I need a round of wedge.
Yeah, and you see him just up here in clean air, and that right front fender just amplifies everything that he has going on with this car. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be a long day for a lot of these guys because the handling is not good on any of these cars.
Ready for a wreck right there, taking a shot. Nobody hit him.
Yeah, you see him take his hands off the wheel. He knew he was out of steering wheel. It was all the way to the right, and you heard him working the throttle to try to keep the car down the banking so it didn't shoot back up the racetrack.
Now, this is William Byron. Talk about close calls.
Yeah, oh my God.
And William did a great job right there, just not overreacting to slow the car down just enough.
He
didn't touch him at all. Just slow the car down and try to judge that speed of where that car is going to go, just enough to not get run over from behind. So great job by both of those guys keeping their cars from getting torn up. More than
a lot of cars coming on the pit road you see in here need some adjustments.
Remember, the pit entry is at turn 3. And under caution, 45 miles an hour all the way around turns 3 and 4 on the apron and pit road. Corey LaJoy, Chili's onboard camera, having a good run up toward the front, up to 9th. Brad Keselowski, the Ford Performance Cam, and the Ambetter Health Cam for Eric Jones. Joey Logano up to 16th before the caution flag. Regan.
Mike, I'm not sure the start of this race could go more perfect for Joey Logano. Of course, after that penalty early on, the team said that we will be aggressive if we have to in terms of fuel and what we're going to do to try and leapfrog the field some. But think about that early caution. That allowed him to catch up in what they thought was a situation that would put them 2 laps down when it was all said and done.
Free pass goes to Carson Hocevar. He was one of the cars caught up in that lap 2 accident, but he's, as the first car 1 lap down, he'll be the 31st and final car on the lead lap when we restart.
Ryan Blaney He's done a great job of getting that bad luck at Daytona behind him. A fast race car leading his field.
Oh my God,
More work on the
car.
Chase Elliott side.
Yeah, when you crash like that, you got to start adjusting things, whether it's hitting the ground or whatever the scenario is that they're in. You got to start making adjustments to the car to cater to whatever situation that you're in. But I just can't stress enough. You see a lot of these cars sitting on pit road making adjustments to their cars, more repairs to their cars. The drivers are absolutely miserable right now. It'll be fun to watch.
I'm here for it.
I'm glad I'm up here because I'm
liking that seat better now.
Those 4 races that I drove here were the most uncomfortable that I've been in a race car in a long time.
All right, let's go from miserable to happy. Spring football.
Happy.
That'll put a smile on your face. And it's about to hit a whole new level as the USFL and XFL come together to unleash the United Football League. March 30th on Fox. Champion Birmingham takes on XFL champ Arlington. The UFL this spring on ABC, ESPN, FS1, and Fox. 29 laps complete under caution. Let's check with Regan.
Well, Mike, you guys are talking about, Clint and Kevin are talking about in the booth up there how the handling on these cars looks. The drivers are a little bit confused inside the cars too at times right now. Listen to Kyle Larson.
We're going for 25 minutes.
Ride quality is just normal. Like you feel the bump. I'm sure if somebody's tucking behind me, it'll bother me, but where we're at right now in the race, it's not a big deal.
Well, I don't think anything's a big deal to Kyle Larson. He's a different breed.